here. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to manage your goals using the 5-4-3-2-1 method. This is a method that Ryder Carroll talks about in his book, The Bullet Journal Method. Ryder Carroll is the creator of bullet journaling. He used the method throughout his life as a way of organising his mind, and he now describes bullet journaling as the art of intentional living. I love this book. It has a lot of deep insights that get you thinking about the things that are important to you and how to use journaling to help you live the life that you want. The aim of the 5-4-3-2-1 exercise specifically is to help you focus on what your long-term, medium-term and short-term goals are by listing what you want to do in 5 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days and 1 hour. You start by dividing the page into 5 sections and labelling them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you set up 2 of these, one for your personal goals and one for your professional goals. It's helpful to have your goals listed out somewhere already. I usually do a brain dump of goals at the beginning of the year, so I referred to this to help me list out my goals for the 5-4-3-2-1 spread. Splitting it out like this helps you put your goals into context and visualise what needs to happen and by when. It kind of brings them to life a bit more. An important part of this exercise is making yourself pick out your priority goals. Ironically, you need to be working on as little as possible to be really productive. In the Bullet Journal Method book, Ryder Carroll talks about how only 2% of the population can truly multitask. Most people think they can multitask, but really they're just juggling and not really getting the best out of themselves, compared to if they just focused on one thing at a time. Apparently, your brain can't fully focus on the next thing that you want to do if you've left another important task incomplete, and that's what this exercise really helps you with. So you list out your goals in the 5-4-3-2-1 layout, and then you prioritise them by putting a star next to one goal in each category. So in the end, you've chosen 5 goals from personal to prioritise and 5 from professional. Ryder Carroll also emphasises the importance of knowing why you're doing what you're doing. This helps us make the choices in our lives with intention. We have to truly understand what's driving our motivations before we begin working towards goals. So I made sure that I was thinking about my whys while writing out my goals. For example, in the 5-year goal section, I have that I want to be self-employed. And I took the time to really think about why I want that. The dream started about 10 years ago when I was in my mid-20s. I read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek, and I was introduced to the idea that we don't have to follow this system that we're used to, where you work really hard throughout most of your life in whatever you do for a living, and you save all of your freedom and travel or whatever else you dream of doing for when you retire. In this book, Tim Ferriss asks why we're spending our good healthy years solely focusing on work to later live our dreams on an exotic beach when we might have other physical issues weighing us down. Instead, why don't we take those 20 or so years of retirement and spread them throughout our life? He explains how you can get to a point where you have automated passive income, so you don't have to be constantly working for your money and can easily work from anywhere you want, like a lovely beach in Thailand. He helps you think about the ways you can generate passive income and automate a business, which will allow you to have your freedom now rather than saving it for retirement. The next one on my 5-year list is having found my ikigai. This is something that I never want to retire from. So while I don't want to delay the freedom of retirement, I also want to have some sort of purpose, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. A couple of years ago, I read a book called Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life. Studies in this book showed that the people of Okinawa in Japan were among the happiest and longest lived populations. In the book, they found people in their 90s or even people who are 100 years old who were still living happy, healthy lives, and there was a high number of those in this particular area of Japan compared to elsewhere. According to them, the secret to their happiness was Ikigai. Ikigai is the cross-section of what you're good at, what you enjoy, and what the world needs. It can be described as your purpose. something that you can contribute to the world that is meaningful to you and to others. And this is what they focused on in their lives. Rather than the relentless pursuit of money and objects, as the author of the book describes, they focused on their ikigai. The book talks about how if you want to achieve this level of health and happiness, you need to stay active, even in your later years when there's no need to work. The way to have the motivation to do this is to know what your ikigai is, your reason to jump out of bed in the morning. I've found that sharing my interests on YouTube and Instagram has been really helping me understand what I'm passionate about and what I want to share with the rest of the world. So I'd like to grow my channel over the next few years and discover my ikigai in the process. So as you can see, I also have YouTube growth in my 5-year goal. If you're interested, I've put a link to an article on ikigai in the description and a link to the book. In the 4-month section, I have set up a website, improved my digital lettering on the iPad, and produced content for a training course. I've starred the set up a website goal as the priority, and this is related to the longer term goals that I described. I want to set up a website to have a dedicated space where I can blog and maybe provide useful templates for others to use. The final 3 sections are short to mid-term goals. These are the things I normally have in my monthly or weekly spreads already, so I don't know how useful these sections are for me, to be honest. I guess it's handy to have them here when thinking about goals, to make sure you have the relevant tasks in your monthly and weekly spreads, because it's quite easy to get distracted with other tasks in a month, and you may forget to put ones in that are actually related to the goals that you set out. So I did do 2 lists, like Ryder Carroll suggested, one personal and one professional. The personal has fitness and strength related goals, things I want to do with the kids, and home related goals like finally plan and plant a garden. Oh, I just remembered I also need to make an anniversary present on there. Me and my husband agreed we'd make presents for our 10-year wedding anniversary on the 22nd of August. It seemed like a really good idea at the time, but I just realised I have no idea what to make, so any ideas are welcome. Leave me a comment if you can think of anything that can help me. Anyway, the final step in the process is to transfer your 3 short to mid-term goals from each section to your monthly and weekly logs so that these are done and taken care of. So I would add them to my monthly goals, and then when setting up my weekly spread, I'll make sure that I have tasks in there as well. You then need to turn your larger goals into smaller sprints. You start by creating a dedicated journal spread for the 4 long-term goals. So for example, for setting up a website, I created a double-page spread to help me move it forward. You treat each of these goals as a mini project and start by writing down your mission statement in this format. I want to set up a website to help others reflect on goals and what makes them happy by sharing what I learn about intentional living while exploring my own interests and ikigai. You can then do a brain dump in any way you like to get all of your thoughts, plans and ideas out onto the page. My brain works in categories and in lists. So I just split this project into 2, design and content, and wrote down all of the tasks that I could think of that I'd need to get done to be ready to launch a basic site. I work best when I can just get things out, even when they're not perfect, so I plan to just launch a basic site to start with, and then I can work on refining it along the way. Otherwise, it would probably never happen. Once you have a dedicated spread for each of the 4 long-term goals, you use those to get the projects done. You can transfer tasks from these spreads into your daily lists as and when you need to. And most importantly, you don't look at the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 lists until you've completed your priority projects that you put a star against. This means your mind will be free to focus on what you've prioritised and not get overwhelmed by your huge list of goals. Overall, I think it's a pretty good process for working on goals because I find that I do get distracted when working on multiple goals and overall become less productive. And of course, most importantly, always ask yourself why you want it. This is something I've done from a young age and it's always really helped me, so I'm going to make sure I carry on being aware of why I want to do what I want to do, which will always help define how to do it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps you break down your own personal or professional goals. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.